New Landing's Job Chat is brought to you in part by the Prosperity Advisory Group, the next step in your financial future, and by the EBS Group with an unparalleled background in Oracle solutions and services.
You decided to change careers. How and what are the best ways to do that? What are your choices? You'll find that out and some other answers here on Job Chat. I'm Hector Silva. I'm your host along with Sarah Kane. Our guest today is Paul Ewing. Welcome, Paul.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Paul is the founding president of Prosperity Advisory Group. He is a certified financial planner and a general securities principal with 30 years of industry and community involvement. Paul has won a number of awards over the years, including the 2011 KC Business Magazine Best Personal Wealth Manager in the KC area. And in 2011, he was listed among America's top financial planners by Consumers Research Council of America. He has also been recognized as a member of the Barron's Winners Circle. Welcome, Paul.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Paul, if you decide to change careers, where do you start?
Well, it needs to start with an inventory. For clients who have considered this, there seems to be some common traits. One, they may have been successful in what they were doing before or may not have, but at the root, they just didn't get a lot of personal reward out of it. Sometimes that which is financially rewarding isn't as personally fulfilling. And for some people, they're able to make that trade-off, and others it's like they've only got one life and they want to go around and they want to make a difference. Now, they have to be able to afford the things that they want to do, but if they had a choice, they would rather be doing something that really captured their whole being in what they're trying to do. So it starts with an inventory. First of all, if you were to continue doing what you're doing now, is that fulfilling? Does that work for you from a financial and a personal reward perspective? Second of all, what are the things that you do now that are the most rewarding? What is it you enjoy the most? Is it interacting with people? Is it solving problems? Is it working with the clients? Is it providing a need that can't be met by anyone else? Is it being a content expert? What is it that really drives your decision? And then look around and ask yourself, okay, of those skill sets, those things which I do best, which I find most rewarding, what industries or careers maximize those? And it's been kind of fun to see where that goes. Part of that, too, is take an inventory of can you leverage what you've done to take you to where you want to go. In other words, a classic example in my industry, in the financial industry, is it's not unusual for our industry to be a second career industry. In other words, someone who had a career, let's say as an HR director or even an engineer, worked for a local employer, has been in different association trade group, has a LinkedIn profile that counts in the hundreds, seems to know everybody in town on a first-name basis, is recognized for being someone who is well-reasoned and makes sound decisions, looks at that and says, if I were to become a financial advisor, it's likely that I have an inventory of people who would care to at least find out what drove my decision and to assess whether I'm a right fit for them. That's a classic example of a good second career move where you could leverage those contacts and that natural market that you built for years into this next phase. Take, for example, someone who was in law enforcement who wanted to get out of that or needed to get out of that, which is often the case, because law enforcement is one of those careers that, you have a stop at which you can't go past for age-wise. They now look and say, okay, how now can I leverage my experience or my specific education and my contacts to do something in a second career? So I have a client who was in law enforcement for years who now does polygraphing and has built a good, solid new business out of that, leveraging his experience in that industry. I have clients that have left challenging careers in engineering to become tutors, teachers, consultants, going back to the field that they worked in, and now with a specific area of expertise that they're able to share with their peers and get paid to do so.
So when we're running through this inventory, I take it you want to look not only at the reward and what is personally rewarding to you, but also the risk that might be involved in each different career or just a career change in general.
Well, the risk component is there for all of us. Being a small business owner means I'm both the last person to get fired and the last person to get paid. And is there more risk in that, or is there less? At the end of the day, determination, ingenuity drives through it. But I do think it's prudent to say you need to be realistic about the logistical components of that risk. So, for example, in the market where I am, is there enough demand for the services or the career that I want to pursue? Being a surf instructor is not high demand here in Middle America. But it would make sense if I were in an area where that could be a viable business for me. Take into consideration also the toll that it takes on you and your family and your personal circumstance. I've had a number of clients that have left demanding careers that were taking a toll on their health for equally demanding and rewarding careers that, because they took themselves out of the health or out of the environmental risks, that found themselves living a longer, healthier, happier life with a great more contentment by making those changes. Those opportunities are out there. It just starts with an honest assessment. And the concept of cutting your own path, if that's not in you, you can't put it in you. If it's just not in you to start your own path and to become your economy, the economy of one, but if it is in you, you can't take it out of you either. It's just you're driven to do that. And so then it becomes, okay, business, career, the same kind of decisions play in mind of saying, okay, a great win is when I can take those things which I'm most talented at, I find most rewarding, and a natural market that have leveraged my life experiences today.
You use the word there, an honest inventory.
Right.
So sometimes we think that we do things a little better than we do, or that we are skilled in things that we feel that we are, and others might think different. Is it good to get opinions when you're doing that inventory?
It's great to get opinions from people who will give you direct, honest feedback. And it's humbling at times for you to put your self-esteem aside and look for and just help to understand that the weight of the decision you're making requires you to be honest and direct in your assessment.
Because if you don't start with that honest inventory, then everything you're doing is being built on something that has no real basis.
It's going to fall apart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's correct.
What are the members of the team you think you should have when considering a career change?
Well, for brutal honesty and most helpful input, there's always your spouse, because they see it. They see a 24/7 view of the impact of the decisions you're making. But beyond that, I think it's important to bring in your tax advisors, bring in your financial advisors, look at some of the peers in your industry. And then it's always good to talk to someone who's already gone down that path. So find someone. And if you don't have someone that you have personal knowledge of, go do a search for local trade associations, because oftentimes they'll have mentors that will help you go that direction. LinkedIn is valuable. If you can Google, you can put in that search box all kinds of details that can help you find people that you either know or know someone who knows that can put you in that spot.
And I would guess some members of your team, like your financial advisor and tax professional, have huge networks, and they may be able to help you meet the people you need to meet as well.
Absolutely. If you're not linked in with them, you're missing an opportunity.
New Landing's Job Chat will be back right after a word from our sponsors.
Hello, my name is William Easley, Managing Director of Wealth Management with Prosperity Advisory Group. A job loss is an unsettling experience that almost always challenges finances and lifestyle. Important decisions need to be made immediately that work toward protecting financial security, which include making significant adjustments to day-to-day spending habits. The obvious catch is how to make ends meet on less income. If you should find yourself and your family in this situation, you should begin by itemizing all of your current expenses, no matter how small, and assigning them as either fixed or discretionary. Examples of fixed expenses are mortgage payments or health insurance premiums. Discretionary expenses would include entertainment costs or that weekly dinner out at your favorite restaurant. The key is to eliminate as many of your discretionary expenses as possible and reduce your fixed expenses if able. More importantly, don't postpone these decisions even if you receive a generous severance package. You must tackle them right away. Your ability to maintain a wide array of financial options may depend on a proactive rather than a reactive approach to budgeting so that you can protect your other financial goals like retirement and the assets earmarked for them. Again, I'm William Easley with Prosperity Advisory Group, the next step in your financial future.
Careers, the ones that you were in may not be the ones that have the best opportunity at this point. So that's one of the reasons that would force you to change or look at a change. What are some of the top careers right now that are good opportunities?
Let me preface this by saying that I have a client years ago whose family has the claim to fame that they were at a crossroads. They had to make a decision. They had two businesses that both needed capital, and they just had to choose one. And they looked and said, look, this concept of somebody talking on a wire phone is just folly. But people are always going to need ice delivered to their homes. So they sold their telephone franchise for a college town so that they could keep their ice house.
Oops.
It's good to have those stories to draw back on from time to time.
It really is.
When you look at those issues and understand that sometimes common wisdom isn't really what you need. But there's no doubt there's some momentum in some specific industries right now. There's a lot of momentum around healthcare information and healthcare engineering. There's a lot of the entire healthcare field. I know it seems a little far-fetched, but I understand you can't hire enough welders right now. There's more demand for welders than there are welders out there. Certainly technology in general, but more specific technology in the areas of the cloud and SharePoint and things that are geared towards that next generation of development. Phone applications, mobile is certainly a growing area too, where we as a consumer are now giving up some of base technology that we're accustomed to for having more things available to us at our hands. The financial advisory industry, being a financial advisor, has always been in the top 20 of careers for desirability, both in terms of the financial rewards, but also the personal rewards of making a difference.
So when you look at these top industries, it's a case of doing your inventory and figuring, do I have skills that can transfer to those?
And maybe take a look at the U.S. News and World Report. They update that list every year. And just take those rewards, the things that you find most rewarding, cross-reference that with the honest feedback that you've got. And I think you've got the right framework to move forward into a new opportunity.
In hearing some of those top careers, it sounds like you may need specific training in those areas in order to change careers. And that may take a significant time or financial investment. How do you determine if the investment up front is going to be worth it over the rest of your career?
Well, so if we were to do the business assessment, we would say, okay, what is the life of the income flow? So how long before you retire? From the time that you entered this industry to the time you retired. What is the likely net income going to be? What is that in difference to what you're making now? So what's the delta? What's the gain? net present value that back at a reasonable interest rate, and if the tuition is greater than that number, it's not the right decision. Financial advisors, we do think things funny, don't we?
You need a calculator to create that.
You do, but
Maybe a computer.
But what you're saying is you just don't jump. You
Right.
have to do your homework and you have to do your analysis before you make a decision.
Exactly.
Okay. And when you're doing this analysis and doing these decisions, again, we go back to professionals do this often, while
Correct.
you only do it maybe once. So that's why it's always a good idea to get them on the team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And qualified professionals that have gone down this road, and wise counsel.
Networks are important in this also, because if you're going into a certain new industry, there might be some associations or other groups of that ilk that you might want to tag into to get a little more information.
Absolutely.
So are those things that a professional might be able to lead you to or direct you to?
Absolutely. They're likely to know, or know someone who knows, and have a perspective. Sometimes it's valuable to have somebody say, "This has been a great run, but we feel like it's coming to an end, and here's why."
And you can see that just not only from a larger picture, but you can see the financial picture and how that's shrinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's always possible that in the pursuit of one career change, that another one reveals itself. But the pursuit's always worthwhile.
Have you seen examples of that in your work?
We have. We've seen clients that have started second careers. We've seen clients that have started separate businesses, and we've seen clients that, upon further research, decided that they really liked where they were, and found work in the same area that they were working in, and it's worked out. We've had clients that are still trying to find their match. We've had clients that decided, this was my time to retire. I didn't know it, but it's my time to retire. We see that too.
And you've seen people, I'm sure, go from retirement deciding they're ready for a change. They want to do something in their retirement years.
Right. And, there's so much service work to be done. And so there's business opportunities, but there's also opportunity for community involvement in retirement. We've seen both with equal fervor and be equally rewarding. For those who are in the financial position to be able to be more community involved, and that's more personally rewarding, and it doesn't make a difference to them financially, then that works too.
You mentioned that service work. Could that help someone that wants to change careers?
Absolutely. If you want to get into the healthcare fields, look at where you can start volunteering your time in those fields. That's a great catch. Yeah, that absolutely can make a difference.
Helps build your network and get the experience that you need.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for your time.
I have to rush and deliver some ice right now, but if somebody wanted to contact you and get some further information, where could they reach you?
Our website is prosperity360.com.
You can hear more advice and information from Paul on other job chat with him and a number of other job chat topics as well. You can catch these and all other podcasts on our website, www.newlandingsjobchat.org. Thank you again, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Until next time, may your days be full of health, happiness, and success.